Whoops. Let me just... Okay, well, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so hello again, my YouTube fans and chess enthusiasts. My name is Patrick, of course. Welcome to my new Let's Learn How to Play Chess playlist. Now, I've been sharing some videos or channels from other expert chess players and stuff, and adding them to the playlist of this playlist in order for you to have, I would call them supplementary, but in fact they're expert chess videos that hopefully you enjoy and use the basic knowledge that I give you to understand what they're talking about and learn more about what they're doing. So today, excuse me, today I thought we revisit an old subject that I did in one of my first few chess academies, and that is chess notation. Now, I'm not going to cover, I do have a video on a couple of years ago on old-fashioned notation versus the new algebraic notation. But today we're just going to cover the algebraic notation. So, when you're, excuse me, one second. Seems to have a frog in my throat. So, when you're learning how to play chess, and either you take a new chess book, or perhaps you're watching a professional video or an analyzation of a game, and you're having trouble following them, it's because you don't understand what the chess notation is. It's very basic. It's straightforward. It's essentially a grid. So you have letters A through H for the files, and 1 through 8 for the ranks. So let me just get that color thing. So you know that this is A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1, G1, H1, etc. Okay, and this is, A2, B2, etc., so forth and so on. Okay, so when we pick up a piece and move it, we name the piece and name the square it's going to. And sometimes we name the square from and square to. If it's a pawn, generally they just simply name the square it's going to. So if you watch the side of your screen, you'll see that the chess notation is on the side there. I'll move a piece, and you see that it says E4. Okay, very simply, the file first, that's the letter E, and then the rank is 4. So it's understood that it just simply says E4. It's understood that you're moving a pawn, because the only piece that can go to E4 right now is the pawn anyway. Okay? And essentially that's how it goes on, for the rest of the game. Now there are times where two pieces, say two knights, can move to the same square. So you would have to name which knight it is. And I'm going to have to get to that by just simply moving some pieces out. I'm just moving pieces. I'm not really paying attention to an actual game. I'm playing both sides here. But, for example, let me see. Oops. For example, let me see. Okay. Let me see. I would have to put the knight. It would take a while for the knights to get to the same place, but I'm not going to be playing an actual game here, and some of the moves I'm going to be making are absolutely ridiculous. It's just a way for me to get the pieces in the same place, okay, or the place that I want them to be in. Okay. This is actually harder than it looks. Okay. That's a ridiculous move. Don't pay attention to what I'm doing. Oops, didn't want to do that. The computer made me do that. Okay, I'll figure this out. All right, I'll just take this. Anything, I don't care. Castle, that's fine. Now, if I could just get this one knight. This is a lot harder than it looks, let me tell you. I'm trying to get both knights to be able to land on the same square. Okay. Oh, whose turn is it? Okay. Okay, so of course black's supposed to capture this the knight, but I'm just going to do something else completely stupid just to keep that knight there. Oh, king is in check. Okay, fine. So I'm not going to capture the knight because I'm trying to show you something. So now both of these knights, so it's my turn, both of these knights can reach the square e4. Okay. So if I was going to say knight to e4, I would have to specify which knight. So let's say I'm going to move this knight out of the danger of being captured to e4. You'll see that the chess notation, the computer automatically says nf e4. So the knight on f moved to e4. So in other words, when two pieces, two knights, for example, for the main example, can move to the same square, you have to specify which one, and they do that by simply saying n knight on f to e4. As you can see in this notation on the right side of the screen, I'm pointing to it with my mouse. I'm hoping that you could actually see the mouse. Bishops cannot do that. As you know, you have a dark square bishop and a light square bishop. Neither of these bishops can land on the same square as either of the other bishop. So that doesn't work for bishops. For pawns, however, you might have two pawns able to capture. Okay. I'm not gonna let him capture that now. I'm just gonna move some pawns up here just so I can prove a point. Okay. I'm just gonna move any piece. That's fine. So now, if I were to capture this pawn, I can take it with either the A pawn or the C pawn. So if I take it with the A pawn, it'll say A takes B5. If I were to take it with the C pawn, okay, we're just going to overwrite. It doesn't matter, or new variation, it doesn't matter. It'll say C takes B5. Okay? So far, so good? But generally speaking, it is a very straightforward grid. So you know that, for example, I can close my eyes and I can highlight this square, and I ask you what square is that, you should immediately respond, that's F5. Okay? So it becomes a matter of determining the piece that you're moving, determining where it's going, determining where it's coming from, etc., so forth and so on. So again, this game is, I'm not actually playing a real game. It's absolute ridiculous moves I've been making, but the point I'm trying to make is how the pieces move. So it's black's turn. Okay, that's fine. So with the rooks, for example, okay, I'm just going to get the rooks out of here. Just to prove a point. Okay. Anything, again, I'm making absolutely ridiculous moves. Don't follow this game. This is really nothing. So again, both of these rooks can reach this entire row. Okay, so if I wanted to get this rook out of danger of being captured by the bishop, I would move the rook on h. Say, for example, I don't care. How about here? This is good. So it'll say, as you can see on the right side of your screen, I'm pointing to it with the mouse, rook h, e3. If I were to move the other rook, it would say rook a, e3. Okay? And that goes for rooks and knights mainly. Pawns sometimes because of the way they capture. Okay? Never bishops. But again, it's a simple matter of... Oh, it's black's turn again. Okay, so we'll take that pawn. So it's a matter of the piece, name the piece, unless it's a pawn, which essentially they just name the square it's going to. Okay? So if I move my bishop here, it'll say capital B, C4. The capital letters designate the piece. So if it's a bishop, it's a capital B. If it's a knight, I know the word knight actually starts with a K, but because it's chess and there's a king, the king is the K, capital K, and the knight is a capital N for the way it sounds phonetically. So the knight would be a capital N. Okay, so let's just move the knight just to show you. Capital N, F5, you see, so it's the knight F5. There's no other knight that can go there, just, you know, and we know it's an N, so it's a knight, so it was the knight that landed on F5. But if I was to move the bishop to F5, it would say bishop F5, capital B F5, okay? That's it in a nutshell. And when you're playing a tournament game or something to that effect, you know, any kind of even a semi-professional game, you know, you're expected to write down the moves. Or if you're just trying to save your game when you're playing at a chess club, you don't have to. But, you know, I know sometimes I like to write them down so I can analyze the game later. Especially if you're learning how to play chess, you want to write down your games to try and take them home later and analyze them on the computer or put them on a chessboard. You can replay your entire game as long as you do it right. And don't get upset when you make mistakes, because I've been doing this for a long time, and when I do write down my games, I find myself making mistakes too. In the heat of the game, you forget to write something down. You end up writing it on the wrong space. You know, the chess notation papers, you know, looks something, you know, something similar to what you see on the right side of your screen here. They come in various different ways. I've even made up a few of my own. When I was barely in my 20s, I didn't have any, so I made some of my own on the computer and printed them out and photocopied them. A little bit sloppy, but I could show you some of them on camera. Oh, that's not them. Okay, where do they go? I have a book of... Oh, okay. Sorry about that. The all my chess stuff has been moved to the other room. Well, here's one here. There we go. This is an example of... I don't know if I can see this or not. I'm going to see if I can... I'm going to see if I could minimize the screen somehow so I can get at the camera where I can see what I'm doing here. Okay. So this is one of them. Okay. They don't all look exactly the same, but it's very similar to what you see on the screen. This is one of my made-up ones from years ago that I have hundreds of photocopies of. Okay. So, you know, they come in various forms, various different layouts, but generally speaking, it's the same thing. You have a list of moves, and you want to try and accurately write them down. And like I said, in the heat of the game, sometimes you forget to write down. For example, when it comes to moving a knight, and you happen to have two knights that can go to the same space, you forget to specify which knight, things like that. So sometimes you have to rely on your own memory. You know, you might say, oh, which knight did I move there? You remember the game, you remember that you moved that knight, you can make the correction then. But that's basically it in a nutshell. This is chess notation. They call it algebraic notation. They have changed the algebraic notation over the years. It used to be long notation, long algebraic notation, short algebraic notation is what you're seeing here. For example, if this was long algebraic notation, I might say, I might say bishop d7 to, oops, that was the knight. Okay, well, let's just use the knight for now. So I might say knight d4 to f5, something to that effect. So that would be the long way of writing it down. And over the years, they realized that this is sort of cumbersome, especially when you're trying to play a game and you're already trying to concentrate on the game, and it's hard to write down as it is. The other thing is, when algebraic notation first came out, it was the birth of the computer chess games. So without explaining what old notation is, because you can go back to my old chess academies and you can find that video, and it'll explain it to you. But you know, things like queen's bishop to king 3 and things like that, you can't really tell a computer how to do that. They had to find a way to be able to plug in numbers and letters, a graph or a grid, in order for a computer language to make sense, you know. And they simply came up very quickly with the algebraic notation. Any of you who've played Battleship as a kid, you know, you have, instead of 8, you have 10 by 10. So you have A through J and 1 through 10. So if you know how to play Battleship, you understand the coordinates. Simple as that. So please subscribe, and I'm going to give you a link at the end of this video. I've been watching this new, well, it's not really new, but it's new for me, this new chess channel, this expert chess player, what's his name, comes from Italy, and he does an amazing job at analyzing old, old grandmasters games and things like that. I just watched one from the 1959 championship and things of this nature, and he talks about Fischer and Kira's and many others. He also does a great job on the upcoming new grandmasters, the kids that are just the youngest grandmasters and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you that link. It'll be on the screen, you know, alongside of my please subscribe screen, you know. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and hope you get better at chess.